A silent force is already unfolding around you, breaking apart every illusion that told you to shrink. What is approaching is not a distant dream, but a pulse of truth so close that it's already reshaping the space you stand in. This moment is not accidental. Your presence is marked. Your existence is carrying a weight that cannot be overlooked anymore, and the unveiling ahead is unstoppable. The quiet witnesses of your rise are no longer just spectators. They are now messengers carrying evidence of your journey. Every step you've taken has been noticed, not brushed aside, not forgotten. There's an invisible archive of your persistence, your growth, and your essence, and that record is demanding to be seen by the world. No longer do you stand in a place where recognition comes reluctantly. The energy surrounding you no longer tolerates partial acknowledgement. What emerges for you now is an unmistakable, radiant confirmation that your value is complete and undeniable. It is not earned through compliance or appeasement. It is inherent, absolute, and untouchable. This revelation will not arrive quietly. It will move like a wave that sweeps through the doubts of others, dismantling disbelief in a single strike. Those who once measured you through the lens of limitation will be left trying to piece together how they overlooked what was always present. You are not arriving at this point as a shadow or an afterthought. You are stepping into an arena where every boundary that was placed around you will dissolve. The very systems that underestimated you will soon have no choice but to adjust their gaze upward. This isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about embodying a truth that is larger than every doubt combined. The confirmation that radiates toward you now is not merely approval, but a kind of validation that transforms how you see yourself and how the world mirrors you back. What unfolds next is not just a personal triumph, but a revelation of identity that extends beyond you. It is the undeniable recognition of worth that has always been there, waiting for the right moment to blaze through. And that moment at last is here. That you're not here by chance. Feel the pull. Tap join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. You are the proof that endurance does not come from ease, but from trials that were meant to break you. What you endured was not random. It was the careful sculpting of your essence, carved by challenges that appeared merciless, but were secretly shaping the core that now refuses to collapse. The chronicles of your journey hold no ordinary story, but a testimony that will shake every illusion of your weakness and replace it with undeniable strength. Every act of deception that crossed your path was not simply cruelty. It was a hidden lesson wrapped in sharpness. The hands that once promised loyalty but delivered betrayal were not ending your spirit. They were tempering it. The wounds dug deep, but within that ache, parts of you that were fragile and unguarded dissolved. What survived was a sharper version of yourself, unwilling to hand your power to those who sought to diminish it. When the truth of treachery unfolded, when the face of trust revealed itself as a mask, something unshakable ignited inside you. That moment was not destruction, it was a silent awakening, a crystallization of all the lessons waiting to converge. Betrayal was not the end. It was the birth of discernment, a clarity that could not be undone. The path of choice stood before you when shadows tried to pull you under. You could have mirrored the venom, but you chose a different ascent. Instead of clinging to bitterness, you turned your scars into wisdom and your silence into fire. That choice was not small. It was the turning point, the mark that proved your strength belonged to the higher road, not the spiral of vengeance. Patterns repeated like a relentless drumbeat, testing you in every sphere of life. Again and again, your worth was overlooked while others basked in borrowed glory. Each dismissal felt like fuel gathering under the surface, but you never allowed it to consume you. Instead, you molded the weight of those experiences into vision, into something only you could create. Every unnoticed effort, every moment where your brilliance was hidden behind another's mask of success, became a stone in the foundation of resilience you stand on now. The neglect of others was not a sentence of defeat, but a redirection, turning you away from systems too small to hold your magnitude. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. What seemed like barriers were in fact doors disguised as walls. The record of your life does not testify to a victim's fate, but to the becoming of a force that cannot be contained. The same trials that once threatened to silence you have instead prepared you for revelation, a stage where nothing can overshadow what was always meant to rise. There are times when love seems like the fiercest battlefield, and you have walked across that ground more than once. You gave everything, your trust, your care, your depth, only to find it treated as if it were ordinary. What you offered so freely was measured cheaply by those who never understood its value, and they kept you waiting while they searched for something they believed might shine brighter. Patience turned into silence that excused neglect. Devotion became the very reason others thought they could disregard you. Loyalty, instead of being cherished, was twisted into an open invitation to take more without giving back. Yet beneath the sorrow of being unseen, something far greater was forming, an awakening that could not be stopped. Every broken promise, every cold dismissal, carved strength into your core. Where others misjudged you, life was quietly pushing you toward an awareness that did not need anyone's approval to exist. Their failure to honor you became the very reason you began to honor yourself with new certainty, one that no passing affection could sway. The true shift did not come with a storm, nor in anger's fire. It came quietly, in the stillness of recognition that your worth had always been whole. The unveiling is not simply about triumphs to be admired, but about a story that awakens others to their own potential. What once threatened to destroy you becomes the very narrative that will embolden others to rise. Where you were overlooked, your emergence now becomes a beacon for those who have felt unseen. Where you were underestimated, your rise becomes a reminder that greatness cannot be silenced indefinitely. Those who betrayed, you will realize their actions only sharpened your resilience. Those who undervalued, you will understand that they misread the measure of your worth. Those who thought they broke you will see that they only cleared the way for you to step into love, power, and recognition beyond what they could ever offer. What emerges is not just personal vindication. It is the kind of revelation that carries light for countless others still waiting for their moment to come. What once seemed like scattered fragments now reveals itself as a carefully woven design, every moment carrying hidden intent. The disappointments that cut so deeply were not punishments but shields, removing connections that would have confined your evolution. The career doors that slammed in your face were not defeats but redirections that guided you to a greater assignment. The heartbreaks that once felt like the end were only shaping your readiness for a love capable of honoring your worth. With time, the circles close and the themes return, yet now with clarity. They were never chaos, but preparation for a stage larger than you could once imagine. The trials that sought to unravel you became the bedrock of resilience. The dismissals that once bruised your spirit now stand as evidence that your value never depended on the opinions of others. What was first written in secrecy is ready to be unveiled with force, turning your once muted story into a declaration powerful enough to inspire countless lives. The path that began with pain transforms now into a testimony of restoration beyond what you dared to hope for. The unveiling is not simply about the recognition of survival, but about the revelation of purpose. What was meant to erase, you only carved out the space for your true voice to rise. The hidden preparation has reached its conclusion, and the time has come for your name to reverberate beyond silence, carrying a weight that shifts perceptions and awakens hope in places where hope was thought to be lost. In this realm, The measures are not the same as those the world clings to. Earthly systems calculate worth through visible results, numbers, and fleeting applause. Yet the unseen record does not measure output but intention, not the noise of recognition, but the quiet strength of character. It gathers the moments when you forgave without reason, when you held faith against all odds, when you stood steady even when it cost you dearly. These are the currencies of the higher realm, the true indicators of greatness. Each time you chose truth, when compromise would have been easier, the unseen took note. Each moment you held to principle, while the crowd drifted in another direction, became an imprint of readiness. Integrity and silence carried more weight than approval and noise, and those choices shaped a story that no statistic could ever define. The strength of your convictions built ripples that moved outward, touching realities you could not see. The stand you made in private became echoes in places beyond your awareness. These choices, though unseen by most, were meticulously preserved as evidence of your ability to carry what is now being placed in your hands. The stage that approaches is not one of simple recognition, but of responsibility. The preparation was never about survival alone, but about equipping you to influence far more than your own journey. Every unseen decision, every costly commitment to integrity, has become the seal of your readiness. And now, as the hidden becomes revealed, your story transforms into a living message of what is possible when character is chosen above comfort. Greatness tied to your name was never meant to be random recognition. It carries a higher intent. What approaches is not a shallow celebration of accomplishments, but a revelation that connects your story to something larger than yourself. When others hear your name, they will not merely think of success. They will sense possibility awakening within their own lives. Your identity is being aligned with the very essence of breakthrough, a living reminder that limitations can be overturned and destinies rewritten. Behind the scenes, multiple strands of preparation have been at work. Influence without character would collapse under its own weight. So your inner strength has been refined to bear what is coming. A story without depth would fail to inspire. So every chapter of your journey has been transformed into testimony. Recognition without grounding would be fleeting. So your spirit has been fortified with a steadiness that no applause can distort. Nothing about this unveiling has been accidental. Every layer has been meticulously shaped. There is undeniable force in the unveiling of someone long overlooked suddenly stepping into the light. The stark difference between obscurity and prominence will create a jolt that cannot be ignored. It will provoke questions about the hidden treasures that exist in plain sight, about the unseen brilliance that society often misses. Your rise will not only command attention, it will shift how people perceive value itself. The impact of your transformation extends beyond what you consciously know. Those who share your space have already begun to move differently, influenced not by words alone, but by the vibration of your choices. Where despair once seemed inevitable, seeds of hope began to sprout simply because you stood firm. Where compromise seemed easier, your example demonstrated that integrity is still possible. Even fleeting encounters with you have carried echoes into the lives of others. Someone changed direction because of your quiet encouragement. Another rethought their bitterness after witnessing your refusal to join in destructive speech. Someone continued chasing their vision because they saw you persevere when surrender would have been easier. Influence has radiated outward in waves, reaching people you may never meet, reshaping lives far beyond your awareness. Every time you chose character when compromise called, those moments were not lost. Every time you lifted someone up instead of tearing them down, it was recorded in the unseen as evidence of your readiness. Each decision became another thread in the tapestry of purpose, strengthening the case for why your emergence could not be delayed any longer. What is about to unfold is not simply recognition of what you've done, but a revelation of who you are and what you represent. Your story becomes a living message, your journey a mirror for others still wrestling with their own limits. This is not about personal acclaim. It is about embodying the truth that transformation is possible. And through you, that truth will blaze a trail for countless others. The weight your story carries is not confined to your own transformation. It extends outward, giving countless others the courage to rise. Your unfolding journey will not merely inspire admiration. It will act as a key that unlocks possibilities in hearts that had resigned themselves to limitation. By witnessing what you endured and overcame, others will be reminded that no beginning is too small, no history too broken, no obstacle too great to be redefined. Your rise signals to those still bound that the barriers surrounding them are not walls, but illusions waiting to be shattered. As your path becomes visible, it turns into more than a personal victory. It becomes a living guide. Each decision, each refusal to surrender, each stand for your own worth becomes a signpost for others walking through their own valleys. Your transformation whispers the truth that change is not reserved for the privileged or the fortunate, but available to every soul willing to claim it. What once looked like a private struggle now serves as evidence that destiny is not locked by circumstance, but opened by conviction. The process of your emergence is not ordinary, nor is it the result of manufactured strategies or shallow applause. The unfolding has been orchestrated through alignments far beyond human manipulation. Pathways are opening in ways no planning could have created. Voices of influence are being stirred to amplify your message, and audiences are being prepared with hearts ready to receive it. Momentum builds not by effort alone, but by convergence of timing, placement, and purpose moving in harmony. Even now, invisible threads are weaving together opportunities that will extend your reach beyond what seems logical. Unexpected connections, doors opening without explanation, and platforms appearing at the precise moment needed. All of these form the unseen machinery of your unveiling. While others may believe recognition is born from campaigns and promotions, your emergence reveals a deeper truth. True influence cannot be contained by human systems when it has been marked for something higher. Your rise is not centered on revenge, but on demonstration. It declares that collapse is not inevitable, that betrayal cannot erase what is authentic, that rejection cannot define worth. Where the world expects to see brokenness, they will instead witness restoration. Where others assume defeat is permanent, they will see resilience standing stronger than ever. Your story becomes a living contradiction to despair, an undeniable witness that destiny cannot be canceled by disappointment. This revelation goes beyond you. It carries collective meaning. And your endurance is proof that ordinary individuals can transcend extraordinary odds. And your perseverance is a call to those who believe their potential is buried forever, reminding them that buried seeds are destined to rise. Every scar becomes a testament that triumph is not for the flawless, but for those who refuse to surrender to the weight of circumstance. The unfolding of your life is not only personal restoration, it is a proclamation for humanity. It is a reminder that beginnings do not define endings, that setbacks do not define futures, and that identity is not determined by external dismissal. Through your journey, countless others will recognize that they too can claim more, rise higher, and step into what was always waiting for them. Your emergence becomes not just recognition of one life, but a beacon of hope for multitudes still searching for their breakthrough. What has set you apart is not how you carried recognition, but how you carried anonymity. In seasons when no one noticed your effort, when there was no applause or benefit to be gained, your choices still reflected consistency and honor. The unseen record of how you treated people without status, how you navigated situations without an audience, and how you held your principles when nothing external was at stake became the true evidence of your readiness. The power of your rise is not just about visible achievements, but about what your life quietly proves, that human beings can create new realities when they remain steadfast through the refining process. Your emergence is designed to awaken something long dormant in others. It is not merely about your name being celebrated, but about your story becoming a spark that jolts others awake to their own capacity. Many who have abandoned their dreams will see you as proof that it is never too late, that brokenness is not final, and that restoration is still within reach. Recognition for you becomes activation for them. The way this unveiling unfolds cannot be explained by the world's strategies or systems. It is not dependent on calculated campaigns or carefully engineered exposure. Instead, The alignment that carries your story forward comes from currents far beyond human design. Circumstances have been shifted, opportunities rearranged, and connections prepared with precision, so that your emergence happens at the exact moment of greatest impact. The very hardships you thought were meant to end you were actually tools of shaping, tailored to prepare you for the scope of what you are stepping into. The betrayals crafted your discernment, ensuring that influence will never blind you. The career disappointments redirected you to paths far beyond the reach of ordinary opportunity. The heartbreaks forged emotional depth that now makes you strong enough to carry what is coming without being consumed by it. Every loss has been turned into fuel for global purpose. Your strength is not the kind that erodes under pressure, but the kind that has been tempered to shine brighter because of it. Integrity has become your signature, and authenticity your distinguishing mark. Where others compromised to climb, you held steady. Where others diluted their essence for attention, you preserved your truth. That foundation will ensure that when the spotlight expands, it only magnifies what was already genuine. Your name carries more than sound. It carries resonance. It has been infused with the capacity to stir courage in the defeated, renewal in the weary, and possibility in those who believed the door was closed forever. To hear it is to be reminded of what is still possible, to feel something awaken that had long been buried. It does not simply identify you. It activates something in those who encounter it. Yet deeper than motion is perception itself, for the dream realm allows the senses to merge and exchange roles in ways unthinkable in waking life. To engage this merging is to unlock a code that speaks directly to the essence of experience. It is less about vision, sound, or touch as separate instruments, and more about an orchestra where each note blends seamlessly into the other. Imagine experiencing sound as texture or shape as taste. The entire framework of sense perception transformed into a new spectrum of understanding. Though disorienting at first, this reordering teaches the mind to expand its language, to embrace a fullness that daily life obscures. With practice, such integration becomes not strange but natural, opening possibilities that extend far beyond the dream state. Through this sensory alchemy, the dream becomes more than illusion. It becomes a laboratory of awareness, an environment where perception is pliable, revealing how interconnected all things truly are. Each shift in experience reshapes your way of navigating the inner world, sharpening intuition and deepening your grasp of symbolic truths hidden within. What begins as play within visions grows into a profound training ground. The act of blending awareness with freedom, of remapping the senses, is not confined to sleep but echoes into waking life. The clarity, adaptability, and expansiveness cultivated here become tools for moving through existence itself, proving that the dream is not an escape from reality, but a preparation for a fuller encounter with it. You are one who learns to expand perception beyond its usual boundaries, shaping awareness into a tool that bridges waking and dreaming. The journey begins not with complex rituals, but with simple acts of attentiveness, turning ordinary moments into gateways for refinement. By deliberately engaging the senses, you prepare the mind to carry this expanded awareness into states where control is often elusive. Start by isolating one sense and allowing it to dominate your attention. Listen until sound alone builds a map of space, revealing depth and distance without the need for sight. Allow taste or scent to tell their quiet stories, tracing patterns that speak of hidden layers in the world around you. To touch with full presence is to uncover dimensions of texture often ignored. Each of these practices forms a rehearsal, carving new pathways of awareness that continue into the dream realm. As day gives way to night, intention becomes the bridge. The simple act of deciding to carry sensory richness into the dream state plants the seed of lucidity. Visualization strengthens this bridge, imagining yourself not merely drifting into sleep, but stepping consciously into a vivid landscape. Here, the mind begins to align itself with the possibility of awareness within dreaming. In these rehearsals of imagination, movement is paired with sensation. Envision yourself rising into vast spaces, but do not limit the vision to the sight of distance. Let the imagined air press against your skin. Let sound ripple in new dimensions. Let unfamiliar fragrances accompany your flight. By doing so, You teach the subconscious to weave dreams that are more layered, more responsive, and more open to your guidance. This fusion of senses becomes a language of wholeness. No longer confined to linear perception, the mind learns to cross-pollinate inputs, translating touch into images, smell into memory, sound into shape. Though unusual at first, this reordering cultivates adaptability and unlocks creativity that transcends both dream and waking states. It is a training ground for multidimensional thinking. What emerges from these explorations is not confined to the night. The mind that has practiced fluid perception carries its strength into the day, approaching challenges with originality and emotional depth. Creativity blossoms, problems reveal more solutions, and empathy becomes sharper. The integration of senses is not indulgence but empowerment, gifting the ability to interact with reality from a place of expanded understanding. By embracing this practice, you learn that boundaries between states of being are more permeable than they appear. The dream world teaches you how to move beyond constraints, while waking life offers the canvas upon which to apply these lessons. Together, they form a continuous cycle, a dance where each moment refines the next, weaving a tapestry of perception that stretches toward infinity. You walk a path that invites expansion, yet every step into greater heights requires an equal depth of care. The temptation to rest in self-importance may whisper as progress unfolds, but it is precisely this whisper that must be met with vigilance. True strength is not proven in triumph alone, but in the discipline of staying balanced when the horizon widens and recognition beckons. Pride is subtle, often cloaked as confidence, and its lure grows sharper the more you accomplish. To safeguard against its grip, you must return again and again to the question of why you rise and who benefits from your ascent. The purity of your motives is the compass that prevents you from straying, ensuring that your actions serve more than the self. Without such inquiry, even the most radiant gifts risk becoming hollow displays. Grounding practices are the anchor that steadies this journey. Whether through silence, shared labor, or the smallest gesture of compassion, such actions tether you to the essential truth of interconnectedness. They remind you that no matter how far you travel inward or upward, your humanity is not to be abandoned but embraced. These deliberate acts prevent your abilities from drifting into isolation, keeping them rooted in relevance and service. Humility is not weakness but alignment with reality. To approach your powers with reverence rather than entitlement is to recognize that they are entrusted to you, not owned by you. This recognition fosters gratitude, and gratitude naturally blossoms into generosity. When humility guides the hand, the energy you carry uplifts without distorting, creating ripples that bless far beyond your immediate reach. Service is the natural extension of this perspective. To place your strength in the service of others is to ensure that it retains its purity. Greatness unshared becomes a burden, but when distributed through kindness and contribution, it becomes a source of renewal for both giver and receiver. Each act of service is a safeguard in itself, a reminder that your purpose is not merely self-expression but collective flourishing. Intention must be examined as regularly as breath. The alignment of will with compassion, of action with integrity, forms the invisible armor that protects against misuse. It is through this constant reflection that your journey remains luminous rather than corrupted by ego. Alignment does not happen once. It is an ongoing choice, a rhythm you must return to daily. Thus, let your rise be marked not only by height, but by holiness, an ascent guided by humility, shaped by service, and secured through alignment. When these safeguards are kept, your expansion becomes more than personal elevation. It transforms into an offering, one that honors the trust placed in you and turns potential into living testimony of what is sacred in human growth.